Good morning. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to see folks so far. Tracy's bundled. It must be chilly down there. That's awesome. Can't wait to hear. Hey, Jermaine. Good to have you. And Joy. Hi, Joy. Great to see you. What else do we have? Julia's here. And Kathy. Kathy's connecting right now. Let's see. Here we go. And Suzanne. Yay. Great to see folks. All right. I'm wondering, has anyone noticed any shifts in the sun at all in the last couple of days? Has anything changed for anyone? I know we all have different weather, but in terms of like the sun and the quality of the sun, has anyone noticed anything different where you are? Yes, yes, not so much. A little bit. Well, just keep your eyes peeled for that. It stood out to me yesterday that for some reason the sun just felt so much warmer, and I know things really do start to shift after the solstice. And so I don't know technically like what actually happens after solstice, but I know that things start to change with the birds, and I even start to hear some of the very first songs begin after the solstice. And so keep your ears peeled. They're not like spring songs where they just go on and on and on, but for like a minute or something, there'll be someone singing, and it's really lovely to hear. I think the winter songs from the birds. So just keep your ears peeled for that. Hi,
I
Diane. Good to see you here. And
think we're supposed to start hearing foxes now. They court in January and February, so they'll be barking a lot.
yes, I actually heard one last night right outside my door. Yeah, that's awesome, Jermaine. Thanks for that good reminder. Hey, Claudia and Della. Hey, you too. Good to see you. Well, folks are always invited to turn your monitors on. As you can see, there's some lovely faces here. It's always nice to know who we're talking to. We won't be focusing on us as much in the beginning as we will toward the end, because I always leave some space for us to have a nice little chat at the end. So today, we'll be focusing on our ears quite a lot. And so if you're inside and you're able to sit somewhere where you can crack a window or something, that'll be great, because we're going to be bringing our attention to our ears. But it's not necessary. You really can do this exercise that I'm going to present to you on just a little bit. You can do it inside with the sounds that we're hearing inside. The sounds you're hearing aren't as important. Yeah, we don't have to be hearing birds or nature sounds, but it's certainly wonderful if you can. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. Get your favorite tea or coffee if you need to. Make sure you're cozy, and we'll get started in just a second. Cindy, I didn't say hi to you. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you. Nice. All right, so um, I was doing some meditating over the last couple of days, and during one of my practices, I felt inspired by what I'm going to share with you all today. And also, a couple different things happened in the natural world where I am right now. I had some wildlife visitors come to my back deck in the last week. And I got to hear the bird language respond to them, and it was really fantastic. And one thing I think that's really helpful when you're trying to learn more about birds, and in particular bird language, is to identify specific sounds. So when you can figure out who a bird is, then you can try to identify, all right, what kind of an alarm is that? Is that their, aerial predator alarm? Is that their ground predator alarm? Is that their kind of just agitated alarm? Is that their I'm freaked out, I'm gonna die alarm? Um, and you don't need to know the bird specifically in order to do that. You really can tell by just the sense you get from it, but it does help. It makes it very, very helpful to know the individuals. So today we're going to focus on individual sounds. So let's all get nice and cozy. And as we often do, go ahead and find your feet on the earth or wherever they may be in this moment. Maybe they're in your chair. And just FYI, I have my feeders up again today, and so we might have some bird sounds while they get used to me for this moment. I don't usually sit this close to them, but they'll settle in just a bit. So now that you are connecting with, if you are connecting with your feet, or maybe it's your butt, just whatever's closest to the earth in this moment, and let yourself just feel that connection right now. Notice, if you can, your relatedness to the earth. Some people can feel energy, some people can just feel a presence. Some people don't feel anything, that's fine. But just let yourself try, just play along and see if you can notice that connection right now with the earth. Most likely below you, unless you're, yeah, hopefully below you. All right. And now I'd like you to bring your awareness to your skin. So if you're sitting outside and you can feel the sun on your skin, just notice where you're feeling that and what the quality is. Is it really strong? Is it soft, maybe filtered through the clouds? And if you're sitting inside, then you can just notice if you might feel any kind of gentle breeze on your skin. Maybe there's heat generating some motion in your home right now. Maybe you've got a wood stove going, or you've got air blowing. Just see what you can feel on your skin in this moment. Now we'll move just a little bit deeper into our body. So take a scan of the inside, noticing your lungs as you take your breaths, noticing your heartbeat and your rhythm, the blood moving through your body, and anything else that's calling your attention to it right now. It might be your muscles, might be some joints or bones. And see if you can just observe. You don't have to pass any judgment on any of those sensations, but just notice them. Letting yourself sink in to this moment, to you in this moment, whatever you is right now. And now, with the intention of smelling the air, take a nice deep breath in and just let it go. And try one more time. Sometimes I know if you ever see a dog, or even as humans try to smell the air, we often sometimes take quick breaths in, like, and so you can try that if it helps you to smell the air around you. Just some little quick breaths in, seeing what different layers you can pick up on in the scent of the air right now. Is there one prominent scent, or are there layers? Okay, so without disconnecting from the senses that we've already been tapping into, we're going to bring our attention to our eyes now. So find a point off in the distance, kind of far away, not super close, not super far, but something that you can identify. So find something in this moment. For me, it's going to be the corner of a window where the brick and the window meet in a distant building. And just let your eyes really focus on that one point. And now slowly, as if you're kind of expanding in a concentric ring, just let your vision start to soften and to expand all around that one point. And just see how far out you can go. How big can that concentric ring expand? Still remembering the senses on your skin, your connection with the earth, and what your body feels like inside. And so our eyes are just soft right now. As we take everything in, they almost instinctively soften. But if they haven't just yet, then you can just allow your eyes to soften right now as they try to take in all that's around us. So, for the next portion of our practice, we're going to be really bringing our attention to our ears. But while we're doing this, I'd like you to try to bring your attention sort of back and forth. You might move away from owl eyes, this sense of vision that we're doing right now, this softened gaze. You might find you drift away from that. Maybe you focus on a bird, or you have to bring your binoculars up because you see something interesting. And that's just fine. But every once in a while, try to bring your eyes back to that softened gaze and let yourself just settle back into that as we move through this practice. So right now we're going to find our markers, kind of the loudest sound and the quietest sound. So first, I'd like you to listen for the sound that's the most, not so much the most prominent, but the loudest, actually the very loudest sound that you can hear right now. Bring your attention to that in this moment. Okay, nice work. And now we're going to shift our awareness to the quietest audible sound that you can hear. So I know there's sounds that are happening in the earth around us that are likely inaudible, but let's find a sound that's just on that edge of your ability to hear. So work to identify that right now. Okay, nice work. So we're going to be working in intervals here. So I'll let us sit for a couple of minutes and then I'll bring our attention back to something else and then we'll go back to this practice. So we're just going to keep, we're stretching and building our muscles, the muscles of our ears right now and our capacity to distinguish. So what you're going to do right now is you're going to stay in owl eyes. You're just going to be nice and gentle in your awareness of the things around you. And you're going to start to identify different sounds. And when you pick out a sound that's unique or distinct from the other sounds, I'd like you to stay with that for just a moment and start to identify like how much quieter is it than the loudest sound? How much louder is it than the quietest sound? What is it? Do you know what it is? Where is it coming from? Who might be making that sound? And really just start to dive into the depths of that sound a little bit. And then when you feel complete with that sound, move on to another sound and start to identify that one, where it is, how, the quality of the sound and any of the intricacies that you can hear in it. So I'm going to let us sit in that practice for a few minutes and then I'll bring our attention back to something else. Okay, so we're going to have a palate cleanser right now. So, what you're going to do in this moment, just for 1 minute, we're going to sit and just allow everything just to come into our awareness without needing to identify it. Just allow all the sounds, all the sights just to be in your awareness right now. So, when the minute's up, I'll let you know. Okay, so this is like a little game that we're going to be playing, and the idea is to see how many sounds you can actually hear and distinguish, and not to rush through it, but just try to count them. And so what I'm doing is I'm like keeping my fingers up with each new sound I hear, and ask yourself questions like, I heard a plane just a moment ago, and I was like, oh, which direction is it going? Can I tell what direction it's flying in? And then the next sound I heard was a truck starting up, and I was just like, ooh, I wonder if I could tell what kind of vehicle that is. Is it a truck? Is it a car with like a loud muffler? So let yourself dive into the sounds. Or if you hear a bird, I heard one opening a seed, and I was like, oh, I wonder what kind of seed it's opening, or like, what's it? Anyway, you guys get the drift. So we're going to sit for another couple of minutes where we're trying to distinguish each sound and spend some time with each different distinct sound that we hear. Okay, we'll have another palate cleanser for 1 minute. So just let yourself take in all the sounds, all the sights. in your area right now without any focus. Right, fantastic. All right, so this time when we dive back into listening for the distinct sounds, if you want to check, like let's say had some curiosities about the sound, then let yourself, look after. You're like, oh, I wonder what kind of bird's making that sound. Then go ahead and check it out after you've kind of run through all the questions. Okay, we'll have one more palate cleanser. right, and now for our final segment. So see how many more sounds you can pick up. All right, everybody. Nice work. Well, as usual, I'd love to hear how things went for you today. So let's start with some folks who have something that they want to share from this morning's exercise. Just see what came up for folks. If you want to share, you can just raise your hand or raise your virtual hand. Yeah, go ahead, Jermaine.
Just a silly thing. I kept hearing this little squeak, and it's kind of like, not too fast. And it just didn't sound like a white-breasted nuthatch to me, and I hadn't seen any. And it just sounded, I was like, is that a chickadee or a titmouse? There's tons of them. And then it stopped, and then lo and behold, a white-breasted nuthatch came to the suet. And then everything stopped, the noise stopped. Then he flew away after a while, and then I heard it start up again. And then it sounded just like a white-breasted nuthatch, it was so funny. Before I saw it, I just thought it wasn't quite like one, and it was probably a titmouse or a chickadee. So that was kind of funny that I kind of fooled myself for no reason.
Yeah, but what's cool is like those sounds really are kind of similar. I can see why you would think those are all possibilities, especially
Uh-huh.
if the white breasted isn't. Maybe it's just doing like a partial call, or who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe its bill was full and it was sounding funny. Like it's just cool that your mind went to those places, and I love that you got your answer.
I know, I did too. I liked it too, and that was kind of fun. And then I heard the usual cars going by, and I could hear sometimes the birds tapping at the suet or at the cage around the suet. I could hear that little noise, and then a little tinier squeaky noises, very low, very low. But that was all. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
great. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Jermaine. Awesome. Right, who else? Yeah, Suzanne. Hope you were. Yeah, there.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay. Um, hi again. So I closed my eyes so that my brain would stop automatically naming every bird that it saw.
Nice.
And with my eyes closed, I started focusing more on the different sounds of their wing beats and their pecking, their feeding, and their little feet on my deck. And so then I could distinguish, big differences like Steller's jays wing beats from chickadees wing beats. Big old magpie feet compared to little nuthatch feet. So that was a cool exercise. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's cool that you just mentioned that. I was trying to do that the other day. It was actually warm enough yesterday I had lunch outside and um, was sitting a little bit further away from the feeder, and I was trying to do that as well. Like, could I tell which bird was coming behind me based on from the wings? and because they each sound slightly different, and that's a really fun game to play. And I didn't try it with my eyes closed because I was eating, but I will next time. I like that idea. Thanks, Suzanne. That's rad. Yeah, Tracy, go ahead.
Hello. So this little Trouble is the stray that I take care of. And Trouble, this is the first time that she's decided to make an appearance during meditation. I keep waiting for her to do this. But so I was able to listen to all the bird alarm calls and then see as they settle back down as she kind of zeroed in on the cactus mice that she likes to eat in my aloe here, which are like the world's, I don't know if you've ever seen cactus mice. They are only like this big. It's not even an appetizer. But I too was listening to, as they calm down, their feet as they were hitting the fence, because it's, they were calmer because they weren't as alarmed. And I had just put up a new seed cake this morning. So I was listening as everyone came back, as they were trying to see if I could make it out amidst all the car noise, so that's kind of what I was paying attention to today. So this was lovely. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it is really fun to try to hear sometimes the quieter sounds, especially the bird sounds amidst traffic and things like that, and just to kind of push ourselves, nudge ourselves every once in a while, because especially when you think like, oh, I won't be able to do that, and then you just give it a try. And I like Suzanne's idea. It does help to close your eyes for sure if you really want to focus on the sounds. That definitely helps us key in a bit more to it, but it's sort of an added challenge too to try it with your eyes open, Yeah, thanks, Tracy. That's beautiful. Anyone else have a story they want to share from this morning? Yeah, Claudia, please. Oh, I think you're still muted. I can do the little. Oh, you got
There
it.
it went. Okay, I had to hit that several times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, had a lot of starlings and doves and robins and house finches in my yard this morning. And they were all just happily feeding. And then all of a sudden a robin started just calling out, like saying, get out of here. And they all just got out. And I thought, oh, maybe the neighborhood cat's coming around. But also yesterday, just a few blocks from my house, I saw a beautiful big red-tailed hawk sitting in a tree. So I was kind of wondering if he was coming from one direction or the other. Anyway, so all the birds took off and they're just starting to come back now. So who knows? But that little robin was very insistent. And then some others, of course, took up the call. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, and it is interesting. There's a critter that came to my backyard, sort of uncommon, 2 days ago. And I'm not going to say who, because I'm actually going to share the whole story with the master's group. And I know there's a couple master students in here, so I don't want to give away the answer. But I will say that what's interesting is that after it left, I was listening to all the bird language that was going on, and the robins were following it. They were kind of intent. They weren't really alarming. They were doing subtle alarms, but none of the small birds seemed to care. All the small birds just got right back to feeding. They didn't really care, but the squirrel was going nuts. And so that was really cool to start to pick out like who's really upset, who doesn't really care, and then like kind of, if I hadn't seen the predator, would I have been able to figure out who it was based on sort of all the different voices and how they were responding, So I love that you were playing around with that, the robin versus the other ones, and who was talking and who wasn't. And those are great questions to ask, Claudia. Yeah, right on. Awesome. Very cool. Any other stories? Even if they seem simple. Yeah, Tracy, you have one more. Go ahead.
I had a question and a thought, because I've had this curve-bill thrasher visit quite a lot, and I have a couple that visit the bird station feeders, but it almost sounds like a northern mockingbird with the variety, I think, of her calls, and I don't know if it's off season for breeding, but it sounds different than a mating call. But I feel like would they really be having babies right now in January? But it's so diverse. There's such a range. I couldn't imitate if I tried, but she just like sings her heart out and chatters. And I think it's her, but they have such a wider range than I ever thought possible. It's really kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I'll say, I'm not going to give you an answer on this one, but and I'll give you an assignment, something to go look up.
Yay,
And
I love
everyone can do it if
assignments.
they want to. Yeah, go figure out what family the mockingbird is in and what family the thrasher is in. And
Okay.
that might key you into something.
Yay,
Yeah.
I will. We've had all sorts of different visitors the past couple of days, which has been great because I've been just under the weather. But we've had ravens. I had a broadbill hummingbird come back for the first time in a few months. I forget what warblers they are, the yellow and black ones. We only get them when they migrate through here. So I've actually only seen like 4, and I saw my 4th one yesterday.
Oh,
So just a wide, it warmed up a little bit and the rain stopped. So I think that might have something to do with it. But yes, so much activity. It's been really cool.
yay! Fantastic. Awesome, Tracy. Thanks. Great. Yeah, I know for me it was really fun to play along with this exercise just to start to see what questions came up, like the fun ones, you know, where it's just like, could I figure out which bird that is by like the sounds it's making on the tree, or, you know, just like how many car sounds there are around me. And then I could hear, it's kind of fun. What was interesting to me too is that even during our like palate cleansing moments, it's almost like it was hard for me to turn off the distinguishing of the sounds, because then I would hear that loud motor that started up. I was like, oh, I think it's down the street over there now, and now it's going up the road. You know, it's like my mind, once it keyed in on it, it couldn't sort of turn it off and stop following it. And then it was like a helicopter coming, but I also was aware of like just how many planes are going over my house. Like once I heard the first one, it was like, gosh, there's like plane after plane after plane, and oh, there's a helicopter. Sorry if it's loud. I'm gonna mute myself. Anyone else have a story they want to share while I mute? Okay, great. Well, it was really fun to join and to have you all join me in this today, and just kind of fun to play with that and keep doing that with yourself, you know, whether you're at your feeder or just walking from your car to the grocery store this week, you know, just start to play with those sounds and like, how many sounds can I hear right now? And what is it and where is it? And just see how deep you can go with the questions that you're asking yourself, you know? Yeah. Well done, everyone. High five. That was a fun game. Nice work. All right. I hope everyone has a really beautiful week. And I don't think there's any other holidays. It is actually, I think, Martin Luther King Day next week, isn't it? Or something like that. Am I getting the holiday right?
Mm-hmm. On the 16th, I think.
Yeah.
13th or 16th.
That's next Monday. Okay. So we'll still be doing this. We'll still have, I think, just for like the major holidays, or if there's any other big thing that happens, I'll give you a heads up beforehand, but we are still going to have our sit next week. So, all right, everybody, have a beautiful rest of your week. Yeah, thanks for coming along.
Good to see you.
everybody.
Bye.
Good to see you.
Bye.